Do you believe that living virtuously, being generous and honest, will always bring you safety, affection, and respect? Do you believe that kindness will shield you from failure, betrayal, or danger? If your answer is yes, then stop for a moment and listen carefully, because the truth you are about to learn will change the way you see the world and yourself forever. Niccolò Machiavelli, the great thinker of strategy and power, observed a terrifying reality. Kind people are not necessarily the ones who survive, and blind kindness often becomes a deadly weakness. From leaders betrayed, generous individuals exploited, to honest hearts dismissed, Machiavelli documented it all, to remind us that unstrategic kindness can burn down everything you've built. In this video, you will uncover the real cost of kindness, why generosity and honesty can make you weaker, and more importantly, how to transform these virtues into instruments of power, a tool for survival and genuine influence. Keep watching, because you are about to grasp a secret society never teaches you: how to be kind without becoming a victim. Before moving on, pause and ask yourself, do you truly believe that kindness will protect you? Do you believe that benevolence earns respect, that generosity builds loyalty, and that honesty brings admiration? If your answer is yes, you are about to discover a truth most of society does not want you to know. Kindness is not safe. On the contrary, if not wielded strategically, it can become a double-edged sword, weakening you from within. People are often taught that living well will bring rewards. We are told that if you are kind, you will be treated kindly. If you are generous, people will remain loyal. If you are honest, people will respect you. But the reality Machiavelli observed was entirely different. Machiavelli, a Renaissance political thinker, carefully studied leaders and noticed that kind-hearted people, despite their pure intentions, were often destroyed by those they trusted. He witnessed virtuous leaders toppled, generous people betrayed, and honest individuals exploited. And all these observations he recorded coldly, yet with sharp intellect. The truth is, in a world full of wolves, becoming a sheep, doing only good, makes you vulnerable. Kindness, when not accompanied by strategy, does not create safety. On the contrary, it opens the door for others to exploit you. You can see this in everyday life: a colleague always ready to help, a friend who bears responsibility for everyone, or a family member who always says yes. Often, they are the ones overlooked, demoted, or even betrayed. This video presents a different perspective. Kindness in itself is not strength. It is a resource that can be exploited, a flame that can burn down everything you've built. But fortunately, this is not a call to become cruel or ruthless. The true message of Machiavelli, and the core of this video, is that you can turn kindness into power if you know how to wield it strategically. When you learn to adjust your kindness, to know when to help, when to refuse, and when to stand firm, you not only protect yourself, but elevate your influence. The key is to realize that blind kindness is the most dangerous trap. It can drain your energy, leave you exploited, and ultimately destroy what you strive to build. But if you learn to apply kindness strategically, you will become stronger, more respected, and capable of creating real change. The next section will delve into how kindness can make you a target if not used wisely, opening the journey to discovering the hidden power of kindness, according to Machiavelli. Kindness makes you vulnerable. If the dangerous truth about kindness has revealed that blind kindness does not protect you, now we will explore how it can turn you into a target, making you easily exploited and harmed. When you are always the one ready to help, always yielding, always saying yes, you may think you are being appreciated and loved. But the reality is often the exact opposite. You become predictable, exploitable, and frequently not respected. Imagine the kindest colleague you have ever known. They are always there when anyone needs help, always taking on the hardest tasks, always taking responsibility for others. At first, people value this kindness, but over time, it becomes taken for granted, no longer seen as special. Those around them know they will not refuse, will not resist, and can be easily manipulated. It is precisely this constant kindness that turns them into targets for opportunists. A real-life example: a talented manager who always helps colleagues, always stands up to protect employees, and takes on the most difficult tasks. He believes that his kindness will be recognized, that loyalty and dedication will advance his career. But no, the higher position goes to someone else, someone less concerned with others, someone willing to make tough decisions when necessary. Why? Because in the eyes of others, a kind person looks like a servant, not a leader. He is less respected, yet easily exploited. The Machiavellian principle is clear here. A sheep among wolves will be devoured. When you are always the sheep, always yielding, always accommodating, you live in a world of wolves, ready to exploit any weakness. Kindness does not create safety, it creates vulnerability. A kind person without boundaries becomes a doormat, used as a landing pad for others' needs, and ultimately, the one who suffers the most. This vulnerability appears in many areas of life. You may be the friend who always pays for dinner, the one who volunteers to help move furniture, or the colleague who consistently works overtime. At first, people praise your generosity, but over time, it becomes expected, and any refusal is seen as selfish, inconsiderate, or unpleasant. This proves that kindness without strategy inevitably becomes a weakness. However, there is a way to escape this trap. Recognize that kindness must be paired with boundaries, strategy, and self-awareness. When you know when to help, when to refuse, and when to protect your energy, kindness ceases to be a weakness. It becomes a subtle weapon, both protecting you and building respect from others. In short, blind kindness makes you exploitable, appearing weak in the eyes of others, and sometimes the very people you help end up causing you harm. Machiavelli teaches that in a world full of wolves, survival requires wisdom, not just kindness. The next section will delve into the generosity trap, where even generosity can become a double-edged sword if not applied strategically. The generosity trap. If blind kindness makes you exploitable, let us now examine a more subtle form: the generosity trap. This is the situation where you think that the more you give, the more you will be loved and respected. But in reality, excessive generosity can make you a target and even erode respect from those you are trying to help. When you are continuously generous, at first people feel gratitude and admiration. They praise you, talk about your kindness, and you feel happy to be able to help. That feeling is wonderful, isn't it? But over time, the magic becomes expected. People begin to take your generosity for granted. They forget the times you helped, focusing only on the times you don't. And when you refuse a request, instead of understanding your reasons, they see you as selfish or indifferent. This is the essence of the generosity trap. Excessive kindness creates a loop of dependency. Recipients become accustomed to your help, begin to rely on it, and take it for granted. Meanwhile, you, the giver, may not realize that your generosity has become a form of commoditized kindness, where your true value diminishes. Machiavelli emphasized that benefits should be given gradually and selectively, because scarcity creates value. When you give too much, you not only devalue your kindness, but also exhaust your own energy, time, and resources. This leads to a paradox. The more generous you are, the more you are taken for granted and made dependent upon. When you try to set limits or receive in return, people react negatively, even though you have helped them countless times before. A common example is in families, parents who always meet every need of their children. At first, the children are grateful and appreciative. But over time, gifts, attention, and sacrifices become taken for granted. When parents refuse a request, children react with resentment, seeing them as unfair. Similarly, in the workplace, a colleague who always takes on every task will soon become the default problem solver, and when they attempt to decline a new assignment, pushback occurs. The important lesson here is this: giving must be strategic. Not every request should be accepted. Not every act of kindness should be repeated endlessly. Learn to give selectively, focusing on the people and matters that truly matter. When you give strategically, your assistance becomes valuable, memorable, and genuinely impactful. At the same time, you protect your own energy, time, and respect. The Machiavellian principle at play here is, benefits should be given gradually, and scarcity increases their value. By applying this principle, you transform kindness from a weakness into strategic strength. You are no longer the person who must always help, but a selective giver who creates the greatest impact when your help truly matters. In summary, the generosity trap is a pitfall most good people fail to recognize. The more you give, the more likely you are to be taken for granted and exploited. The secret to escaping this trap is to give strategically, turning generosity into a tool that creates value rather than a burden for yourself. The next section will explore the mask of virtue, how the intelligent use the appearance of kindness to build power and respect. The mask of virtue. Having examined blind kindness and the generosity trap, we now delve into a more sophisticated concept, the mask of virtue. This is a principle Machiavelli emphasized. Society judges people more by appearances than by reality. Others observe your actions, but rarely understand your true motives or heart. This is why the wise learn to wear a mask of virtue, maintaining power and respect without allowing kindness to become a weakness. People often think that simply being genuinely kind, generous, and honest will earn admiration and respect. But reality is different. Society judges by image, not substance. You may have a benevolent heart, but if others see you as weak or easily exploited, they will not respect you. Conversely, those who combine kindness with a strong, strategic image are perceived as trustworthy, powerful, and worthy of respect. Think of the leaders or successful people you know. Are they always kind and agreeable to everyone? No. They know when to show kindness, when to be firm, and when to act decisively. For example, a leader may openly express empathy and respect for employees, yet in difficult decisions, they do not hesitate to make unpopular choices if it benefits the organization long term. This is the mask of virtue, a public image of benevolence, while internally wielding strength and strategy. The purpose of this mask is not deceit or falseness. On the contrary, it is how you protect your energy and power while creating a positive impact. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees how you appear, but few experience the real you." And this underscores that perception, how others see you, determines your power and influence more than any actual kindness. Show weakness and they exploit it. Appear strong and reliable, and they respect you. A practical example. Imagine a doctor. While treating patients, the doctor may need to perform painful procedures or remove tissue. These actions may seem harsh, but the goal is to save lives. The doctor does not abandon kindness. He applies strategy to achieve optimal results. Similarly, you must know when to display kindness and when to assert firmness, maintaining ethics while securing power and respect. The wise often do the opposite of the majority. They show strength with friends and gentleness with adversaries. It may sound counterintuitive, but this is how power and influence are maintained without losing character. By understanding and applying the mask of virtue, you learn to wield kindness strategically, protecting yourself while creating lasting impact. In summary, the mask of virtue is a tool of power, enabling you to survive in a world full of wolves without losing your benevolent nature. It is not deceit, it is strategy, showing others the image you want them to see while retaining control internally. The next section will explore the economics of power, how protecting your energy, time, and personal resources ensures survival and long-term growth. The economics of power. If the previous sections focused on recognizing the traps of blind kindness and maintaining a strategically kind image, this part will help you understand a more fundamental principle. Every act of goodness carries a cost, and managing that cost determines your power and survival. Machiavelli emphasized that to become effective and respected, you must recognize that your resources, time, energy, and assets are finite and valuable. Many kind people fall into a trap. They believe the more they give, the more they help others, and the more they will be loved. But reality is the opposite. When you continually say yes to every request, you not only lose precious time, but also deplete your energy and mental strength. The result is exhaustion, stress, and ultimately an inability to help yourself or those who truly matter. This is the real cost of blind kindness. Imagine a simple scenario. On a flight, the instructor tells you to put on your oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because if you try to save others while neglecting yourself, you will lose consciousness, and instead of saving one person, both of you are now in danger. Life operates on the same principle. If you overextend your energy helping others, you will lack the capacity to build your career, protect yourself, or achieve personal goals. You no longer become the giver, you become the one in need of help, and the value you created diminishes. The core principle here is that personal resources must be protected and managed wisely. Time, energy, money, and emotions are finite. The wise understand that to provide help sustainably, they must set boundaries, prioritize important tasks, and put themselves first before putting others first. This is not selfishness or indifference, it is sustainability. Only when you are strong and energized can you truly help others effectively. A practical example. An employee who constantly volunteers for every task, helps every colleague, and works overtime continuously. At first, everyone praises him. But over time, he feels exhausted, his personal work suffers, and his help becomes less effective. Others fail to recognize his effort, taking it for granted. When he declines a request, they react negatively. This is the consequence of not managing personal resources. Machiavelli stressed, "He who wishes to be obeyed must first learn to command himself." If you do not manage your energy, time, and resources, you cannot lead, influence, or protect what matters. Conversely, when you safeguard your resources, you become resilient, reliable, and your ability to create real impact increases. In summary, the economics of power is the recognition that every act of goodness has a cost, and managing that cost determines your survival, power, and influence. The wise do not give blindly. They give selectively, protecting themselves while maximizing impact. The next section will explore strategic use of virtue, how to turn kindness from a weakness into a genuine instrument of power. Strategic use of virtue. If the previous section taught us to manage personal resources to protect ourselves and maintain power, this part dives into how to use virtue, kindness, generosity, honesty, strategically, transforming these qualities from latent weaknesses into real weapons of power. Machiavelli teaches that being kind does not equal weakness, but blind kindness will exhaust you, leave you exploited, and erode your influence. The key is learning to wield virtue strategically, at the right time, for the right person, and for the right purpose. When you understand this principle, every act of goodness becomes valuable and memorable rather than taken for granted and overlooked. Imagine kindness as a sword. If you leave it on the rack, it is useless. But if you wield it at the right moment, it can save a kingdom. Similarly, when you help others, do so with focus and purpose. Not everyone deserves your help. Only those people and causes where your support can truly make a difference. The basic principle of strategic virtue is the one of selectivity. You must ask yourself 3 questions before saying yes. Does this action align with my values and goals? If not, helping is merely a waste of time and energy. Can I help without exhausting myself? If it exceeds your capacity, the outcome will be counterproductive. Does the recipient truly appreciate and respect what I do? If they do not value it, you are creating dependency and diminishing your own worth. When the answer is yes, act with full energy and focus. When the answer is no, respond politely but firmly, preserving your self-respect and maintaining the respect of others. This is how you turn kindness into a tool of power. You create significant impact while protecting your energy and self-respect. Look at prominent historical figures. Martin Luther King Jr. was never gentle with injustice, yet he fought strategically to change society. Mother Teresa did not help everyone in the world. She focused on those who needed her most. Both used virtue strategically, generating lasting impact and profound respect. This strategy also teaches you to focus on results rather than just good feelings. Kindness is not merely the act of giving, it is creating meaningful outcomes. You will see that when you help the right people with the right actions, your contributions become memorable and valuable, far more than if you helped blindly. In summary, using virtue strategically does not mean abandoning kindness. It means transforming it into a tool of power, allowing you to protect yourself while generating real impact. Strategically applied kindness becomes a potent weapon to achieve results, build respect, and create lasting influence. The next section will explore the illusion of gratitude, where Machiavelli reminds us that people do not perpetually appreciate kindness, and understanding this psychology is essential for wielding virtue effectively. The illusion of gratitude. If we previously learned how to use virtue strategically, this section reveals a harsh truth about human psychology. Gratitude is temporary, and too many good deeds can diminish your perceived value in the eyes of others. This is what Machiavelli observed and emphasized. People do not evaluate what you have done in the past. They pay more attention to what you are doing right now. Most people believe that when they help others, gratitude will endure. But reality is different. The first time you perform a good deed, gratitude arises naturally. The recipient values it, and thanks make you feel appreciated. The second, third time, gratitude remains. But gradually, expectation replaces appreciation. Recipients begin to take your good actions for granted. And when you refuse or cannot help next time, they react negatively. They see you as unkind, even selfish. This phenomenon is called the illusion of gratitude. The underlying reason is that humans easily adapt to positive experiences, a psychological phenomenon known as hedonic adaptation. Repeated acts of goodness become normal in the eyes of others. What you think will generate loyalty and respect, but in reality, only create expectation and dependency. When you fail to meet that expectation, negative reactions occur, and past kindness seems forgotten. A real-life example. You consistently help a colleague with difficult tasks. Over time, they begin to view it as your responsibility. When you want to rest or decline a task, they may respond with anger, complaints, or criticism. In families, parents who always meet every need of their children initially receive gratitude. But over time, generosity becomes expected. When parents refuse a request, children react negatively, forgetting all the prior sacrifices. Recognizing the illusion of gratitude makes you smarter in deploying kindness. Instead of giving indiscriminately, set boundaries and choose selectively. Allow others to experience the value of your kindness rather than creating a habit of dependency. When you introduce unpredictability, your kindness becomes precious and memorable. The Machiavellian principle here bets, people notice present actions more than the past, and true value comes from how you manage your kindness in the moment. And by understanding that gratitude is not everlasting, you learn to use virtue strategically, create lasting impact, and protect your personal energy. In summary, the illusion of gratitude serves as a reminder. Kindness is not appreciated forever. To be effective, you must set boundaries, be selective, and practice virtue strategically. When done correctly, kindness becomes strength, not a burden. The next section will explore results over intentions, why the world judges you based on the real impact you create, not the good intentions within your heart. Results over intentions. After understanding the illusion of gratitude, we must examine one final but crucial principle in Machiavelli's philosophy. The world does not evaluate you based on your good intentions, but on the actual results you achieve. You may have a pure heart, noble intentions, and a constant desire to help others. But if those actions do not create real impact, the world will barely notice or appreciate them. This is harsh truth, yet it is key to being effective. The purpose of kindness is not just to feel good, but to create change and generate positive, lasting results. Those who focus only on being liked or praised may create temporary comfort, but rarely leave a lasting influence. In contrast, those who dare to make difficult decisions, say no when necessary, or take challenging but effective actions, leave a lasting impact and are remembered. Consider everyday examples. A teacher may be very kind, always wanting students to be happy and content. But if they fail to enforce strict rules or accurately assess student abilities, learning outcomes will not improve. In this case, the teacher's good intentions fail to produce real results, and ultimately, they may be judged as ineffective by students and parents. Conversely, a teacher who dares to apply discipline, set high standards, and occasionally cause discomfort, helps students develop skills and achievements, creating tangible results that are recognized and remembered. Machiavelli once said, The ends justify the means. Yet not to excuse unethical behavior, but to emphasize that good intentions are insufficient if they do not lead to good outcomes. The world judges you by the influence and impact you create, not by how you feel or what you intend internally. Therefore, to be truly kind and powerful, you must prioritize results. This principle applies to leadership, personal life. Those who focus only on being liked or pleasing everyone are often forgotten. Meanwhile, those who prioritize results, solving problems, creating change, achieving goals, leave a meaningful mark. Kindness, generosity, and honesty are only valuable when they help achieve positive outcomes. In summary, results over intentions is the final reminder of how to apply Machiavelli's philosophy in practice. Do not perform good deeds merely to feel good or earn praise. Focus on creating real, lasting, and memorable impact. Use kindness strategically, protecting your energy and resources. Recognize that the world remembers what you build, change, and leave behind, not the good intentions without results. When all these elements are combined, from awareness of the traps of blind kindness, managing personal resources, strategically applying virtue, to prioritizing results, you will see that kindness is not a weakness. When applied wisely, it becomes a powerful tool of influence. You not only protect yourself from exploitation, but also create profound impact and leave a true legacy in life and society.